welcome. This is going to be the first Allcarnews podcast we're doing ever.
Sweet.
Hopefully, we're going to be doing a whole bunch more in the future with a whole bunch of people. Do have some people lined up, but to kick it off, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that you're really interested in. I know you're big on TikTok with the Carmenskii page. So tell me a little bit about that, why you started it, and how it kind of grew to like where it is right now.
Cool. Thanks, Justin. Well, it's an honor to be on your page, first of all, on your podcast, and then
Thank
for
you.
the guest too. I've seen you grow from the side on Instagram and now in TikTok. So it's a privilege and an honor. Thank you for having me. It's an interesting journey that I had so far. I've been listening to a few people on the internet. I've been watching YouTube videos saying that, okay, there's an opportunity to do something with TikTok. It's always good to experience new technologies and I guess put yourself out there. So when the pandemic hit, I worked from the office and I didn't have the opportunity to do that as much. But now since I'm working from home, I've been doing it since March of 2020. I decided, okay, maybe focus a little bit more since I have a bit more spare time. I can multitask a little bit. And that's really how it came to be. My first video, I think, was in December of 2019, which is a while back, and it sucked a lot. It was just pictures. It was not videos. And then I kind of carved my own niche and focused on that. Myself, I'm pretty passionate about cars. I read about car news a lot, and I just wanted to bring that to the world with a bit of a fresh perspective, I guess, a fresh take on it. With the style that I do it.
Definitely. I think one of the most unique things about your style, at least on your TikTok page, is the intros to all the videos. So the model cars, I can see you have a whole bunch of model cars behind you there.
Yeah, I see them back.
But the model car collections or whatever it is on like I think it was on a record player one time. There's you have a lot of cool intros. I think people really like that. It draws them in with a lot of attention and stuff. But
exactly. Well, when I was doing it, I guess it's like everyone can do the videos. What I do basically, I just take the videos from the manufacturers themselves. I try not to go into the creator field because those are proprietary, and I don't want to mess with anyone. I really try to go with the manufacturers themselves. But like in the end of the day, everyone can do it, and just a cool twist on my things. I say, well, I have this car model collection, might as well use it.
Definitely.
So the intros are there.
Anything unique you can bring into the field, people love to see.
For sure.
But did you have any photography or I don't know video experience or editing or interests before you started doing this?
Not much, to be honest. I knew how to operate on Photoshop very basically. I had some experience with some video editing. Back in the day, I used to have an Instagram profile of my own and I used to put some stuff out there. So that's, I guess, how I learned. But I didn't have any professional experience. Everything I learned is just pretty basic. And as you can see from my videos, are pretty basic as well in terms of editing style.
They're pretty unique though. I wouldn't call them basic. I think it's a good style. Again, the introductions are really cool. That's one of my favorite parts from what I've seen. So what really got you into cars in general, even going further back than just these two pages you started doing here?
Interesting question. So back in the day, I used to grow up on the east coast of Russia. That's where I originally come from. A very GDM oriented culture and a pretty big car culture as well. Like I don't know if you know anything about Russian car culture, but it's pretty big. And then especially in the East where I come from, people love cars because what we used to do back in the day is we used to import them from Japan straight because Japan for some reason didn't want older cars and they consider everything that's 5 years and older old cars. And we would just import them to Russia just sort of as garbage, so to speak. But it was really appreciated in Russia. And I guess being in that community really brought my love for the car industry. And my dad was also always a lot into cars. He's a little bit more different in his style. He likes off-roading and GDM specific Jeeps. Like we don't have them in the North American market. I'm a bit more into sports cars and stuff like that. But I guess that's where it all started from.
That's actually really interesting. So I didn't realize that JDM cars are so big over there. I guess it figures Japan's pretty close.
Huge. And so in Russia we drive with the steering wheel on the same side as here in North America on the left. Okay. But GDM cars are right hand side in terms of their steering wheel. So we import them and we drive on the proper side of the road according to North American standards, but with the wrong wheel. Yeah. And nobody gives any crap about it. So they just do that.
Unfortunately, here we have that 25 year rule, which is just ridiculous.
A little bit better in Canada, 15 years.
Oh, really? Only 15? Okay. Not as bad. The U.S. has a lot of strange laws that are just antiquated. That's why we can't have the cameras as the side mirrors. There's a law.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hmm.
There's another weird law that a lot of people don't talk about. If you go to Europe, I don't know if it's like this in Russia or not, but they have those matrix headlights that can adapt to different
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's illegal in the US
It's illegal
because
here, yeah.
old law. So old laws
It's
just ruin
interesting.
ruin everything.
Same as with I think in Canada there's a law with the dash cams,
Oh
something about
really?
the privacy. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think you're not allowed rear dash cams by law,
I
but
do
there's
know
something weird.
I do know right over in Toronto. I'm over in New York.
Hmm.
They don't allow because we in the US we have to, people use those radar detectors for on the highway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I heard they're
Hmm.
not illegal
No,
over
they're illegal in Canada.
there. Okay, just a little bit of
Yeah.
differences there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've been into cars almost my whole life. My grandfather and father, always used to have the cool cars when I was little. My
Hmm.
grandfather's big into BMW, so he's always been on that side. And my father, he had a Porsche at one point, which old photos, and we always used to have Subarus, so we kind of want to keep the Boxer engine in the lineup
Yeah.
for our entire history so far. But
So that's what you got.
yeah, exactly. It's a piece of work, though. I can tell you
I've
that.
seen the videos. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've always just been into cars, always really into like the naming of all the brands and everything. Ever since I was little, I used to go around naming all the brands, and my parents and my family would be like, "How does he know all this stuff? How is he naming all this stuff?" I'm just reading the things off the cars. But it
Yeah.
grew over time into just getting more involved in the industry and trying to figure out like how different things work in different ways. I was excited when the new cars would come out and learning about a lot of the different weird like engineering quirks and the design
Mm.
details about all this stuff. And I just wanted to start sharing it with people through social media when that all started back. I don't know, I was thinking 2012. I started my
Yeah, you
account.
started a while
It was
back.
a long time ago, actually. But it grew and grew. I started putting more work into it over time, and then things happen. We're back where we
Yeah.
are now, but
Yeah.
um, I wanted to restart it. I've been doing the same thing for such a long time, and this podcast and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. I want to talk to more people in the industry, like you guys and everyone else, and see everyone else's perspectives on the
For
car
sure.
world, their vision of the car world, and what's going on. Because I think that's a
Hmm.
thing as well. Um, so I know you have a lot of model cars, as I can see before. Which ones are your favorites, and like what are some cool details about them? Because I don't really know that much stuff about those types of cars.
Well, my favorite one is not here. It's a BMW art car. I
Oh
keep it in
wow,
glass so it doesn't collect dust. It's pretty expensive. It's like $200 US. So BMW, I'm sure you know, they come up with these art cars where they get an artist to
yeah,
basically paint on the car their work. And so the latest one of that was the M6.
hmm
I think it was the DTM. I'm not exactly sure. It was GT3. I think M6 GT3 by Baldessari, I think the artist's name is. It's a pretty cool, just the attention to detail. I overall like BMW models because there's so many details, like their hood pops, their doors open. If you turn the wheels,
yeah.
the steering wheel even turns. That's
So
pretty
that's
cool. But with art cars, like they're a little bit more special. There's a limited edition of them, and it's just combining cars with art. Well, cars are already art, as you know, but bringing the actual
yeah.
art into them is pretty cool as well. So that was my favorite. Another one I really like is here. It's the M1 Pro car, which
Oh
has
wow,
some cool heritage and looks pretty cool as
yeah.
well. Yeah, those would be my favorites, I guess.
I actually only have two. I have a old SL and a Vulcan. I was looking at them over there, but
Oh,
SL
nice.
Vulcan, but they're really tiny little cars. Nothing really fancier stuff, but
Are they OEM from the manufacturers themselves,
no,
or?
I don't think so. I got them as gifts, so I'm probably not.
Well, they're pretty cool anyway.
Yeah, they're so.
I think I've seen them in one of your videos.
I think I had them in one video. I think I did on
Yeah.
TikTok a while ago, but they're fun to look at. I like to have them around. But my best memory of model cars actually that doesn't have to do with them at all. Specifically, I remember a while ago I was on a beach with some friends and I was carving I think it was a Rolls Royce Ghost out of sand just for fun.
Wow.
We're on the beach and this woman walked by and she's like, "Oh wow, that's really cool. Did you make this?" It's like, "Yes, I did." It's like, "Oh well, my husband makes model cars," and we got into this whole
Hmm.
crazy conversation about model cars and how he makes them for a living and it's like a lost art. But it's just really cool how you can see like there's always people. You can do something and there's always people that are gonna have a connection to that and you can always start really cool conversations
Absolutely. Yeah.
through these things. So I thought
It's
that was
like when you can't own all of these cars, at least you can own the model cars, and it kind of brings you into the mindset of you having them.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so I want to take a little bit of shift and to look at some stuff that's happening currently, in the future, maybe in the past, with the entire car industry. I have some things I was going to talk about, but I want to ask you, what do you think? What are you excited for to see what's coming? What are you interested in what's happening right now? What could be
For
changing?
sure. Well, from the people that I talk with and from the comments on TikTok, I guess people are very against the new electric revolution. But
I noticed that.
like my point of view, it is what it is, and electric cars can be exciting as well. If you look at
Yes,
Porsche
that's
Taycan,
here.
Tesla, yeah, it's exciting and practical and offers a like. I work in an OEM office and I was with some discussions. And back in the day, like in 2012, people regarded as Tesla as a big joke. They wouldn't even
Yeah,
think about it. And now they're really worried about it taking over the whole industry. And if you look at the valuation they have, it's
yeah,
significant. So
crazy.
it pays off for car companies to focus into the EVs and into the autonomous driving and all of that sort. But essentially, like a lot of people just see it as a big no-no,
Yeah,
electric cars themselves. But I think we should give them a chance. And if it is the future that we have to go into anyway, then just deal with it. And
yeah, definitely.
what can you do, right?
I know we can't stop the bigger forces from happening, but
Exactly.
yeah, Tesla definitely started a whole. I mean, it was in existence. The hybrids were around. There's some plug-in
Hmm.
hybrids around, but they really pushed it. Other people to start making EVs.
Yeah.
I know that was that one. The EQS is coming out with that crazy
Yeah, the Mercedes.
56-inch screen coming out.
Yeah.
But an interesting one that I was looking at is actually Cadillac stuff that's coming out.
Hmm.
They have some really interesting stuff. I thought. The new Lyric is their SUV. I know they have a
Interesting.
weird. One thing I did a video on TikTok actually for a while ago, because they're naming all their electric vehicles are ending in IQ.
Hmm.
There's only another company already did that, and it's Hyundai actually, because they have the Ionic.
Ionic, yeah.
Yeah, so it's Ionic, and then I mean they're just changing the numbers. At the end, it's going to be an Ionic 5, 7, and
Hmm.
whatever the random numbers are going to be after that. But it's just funny how
So
it's.
maybe there is something electric and IQ related.
Yeah, even Mercedes actually. That's what the EQ stands for. It's electric
Hmm.
intelligence or something. But
Yeah.
just had to switch it up a little bit. And BMW.
Well, with Cadillacs, a lot of people are overlooking them now. Well, GM specifically, I
Yeah,
think GM has been going through a rough patch lately. If you look at their stock price, for example,
yeah,
but from what they're doing with all their brands, with the Hummer, with the Cadillac, with the whole range, I think they're coming up with like 35 new models that are
yeah.
electric by 2035 or something. And they actually, I think, will be one of the companies that will be successful in the end of all this.
I definitely agree with that one. Especially with the Cadillac, they're making a huge investment into this whole
Hmm.
brand. And what a lot of people don't really realize is that Super Cruise system is going to spread to like everything.
Hmm.
So, and a lot of outlets are calling it better than Tesla or
Yep.
autopilot. I think the only reason is for that is they recognize it has a facial scanning thing, so it scans your face, so it has a
Hmm.
attention monitoring. Um, Elon Musk has a different philosophy on that whole thing, so he doesn't think they're necessary, but the
Yeah.
publications think they're necessary for safety reasons. But Cadillac's developing a lot of stuff actually that's going to be spreading across all of General Motors, which I think people, like you said, are overlooking. It's going to be a big
Mhm.
slap to the face once they all come
Yeah.
out with these products. It could rival a lot of other brands, and they're also going to be building and providing technology for Honda because Honda
Yeah. Hmm.
CEO
The two
doesn't.
SUVs that are coming.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in making their own EVs because I don't know why. Toyota CEO is the same way. He's all in
Yeah, it's just
hydrogen.
hybrids all the way.
Yeah, but
Hydrogen.
yeah, they actually did their own internal study that they did under a separate company name, so they didn't see it was Toyota, but everyone really knows it was Toyota who did it. They took apart a Tesla Model 3 and they recognized like, oh wow, they're actually 5 to 6 years ahead of us in all
Yeah, yeah.
technology stuff. And I don't know if that scared them a little bit because I know like 2 months after that report came out, that's when they unveiled like, oh, we're making 6 new EVs in partnership with Super, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe they're trying to wake up and realize what's happening here. But it's just interesting how a lot of these automakers are kind of dormant on the idea until they finally realize the potential and what could be coming out of it. So even with Porsche right now with their new Taycan, it's
Mhm.
sold as much as the Boxer and Cayman, I think,
20,000, yeah.
past year, which is pretty impressive for them.
Hmm.
Um, and I know the Audi e-tron GT is coming out, which is basically the Taycan,
In Audi
a
form.
different skin, but that could probably sell more too. Yeah. So any interesting stuff that you see happening with gas cars since the whole EV stuff is being pushed really hard. How do you feel? What do you think is going to happen with that stuff, especially with the new things that's coming out with Porsche and their talk about synthetic fuels and stuff? So what do you think
Mhm.
about that stuff?
No, gas cars are still around. We'll still have developing markets that won't be able to switch to electric fully. We obviously have the aggressive ones like Britain and even the US
Mhm.
and the whole Europe, basically. But the gas cars are still around. And if you look at Cadillac, there's still Blackwings coming out. There's
Yeah.
still Chevy Corvettes out there. We still have a good run with them, I think, until at least 2030. So a good 10, 15 years that we still will be having them. But something needs to change. But at the same time, I also think I don't think that battery electric vehicle is the answer because we can't sustain 100% of BEVs. There needs to be some
Yeah.
other solution. So with synthetic fuels, a pretty good indicator of what's happening with them is the Formula One implementing their new synthetic fuel rule, which I don't know when it takes into effect. I don't remember exactly, but they will slowly start implementing the synthetic fuels. But even if you look at their current engines, the 1.6 V6,
Yeah.
it's very efficient with the new hybrid system. It's one of the most efficient engines out there in terms of the fuel consumption and the power output. So while the shift is happening, I think it's going to take longer than what we think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think 2030 is really a ideal timestamp to get everything into line because, like you said, like the development countries are there's no way that everyone's going to be able to switch over to an EV so quickly. And I think that I don't think the technology is going to really catch up to that pace that everyone's going to actually want to buy an EV. Because I know if you look over in the United Kingdom, their electrical grids are really antiquated and they need to kind of redo it to kind of make everyone want to be on an EV to make it usable, kind of like how Tesla has the superchargers in North America and the Electrify America. I know that stuff is really big here. And that's the reason why people are more interested here or in countries like Norway and Sweden, where they have a lot of incentives
Yeah.
to actually buy an EV. But
And it's
it's gonna,
expensive to get a gas car too,
yeah, it's
with
also
all the taxes they have.
really high. Um, but I am really interested in the synthetic fuel thing. I think that could be a big eye opener to a lot of people because some people try to say that hydrogen is the answer, but I don't think hydrogen.
Still slow, yeah.
It's just
Well, if it's developed properly, which will take a lot of time,
yeah.
it is
I
a good
think
solution, but
I
the
think
getting there.
yeah, I think the hydrogen would be a better solution in the long term for I think trucks and larger vehicles.
For sure.
Just because I think the range potential is there if you're able to get like the fuel cells and stuff in line to match what the drivers and the companies need. But just in that case too, with the Tesla semi truck that's coming out, it's gonna take a long time to charge, even with like a big charger or something, and the
Yeah.
range is always gonna be limited. But I don't think it makes a lot of sense for hydrogen in small cars, just because it's just like a gas car, except it's powering an electric motor. It's just so much additional stuff and
Yeah, it's
things going on.
complicated, and for the
And
price point that small cars have,
they're
it's
really
pretty
expensive
unattainable.
right now too,
Yeah.
since the infrastructure is so low. Um, yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting few years to see what happens. I think this next decade, we're going to see everything transfer over to hybrids. Everything's going to
hmm
be either a hybrid or plug-in hybrid or some sort of electrification going on in there with the slow push of everyone moving to EVs in the next, I don't know, 10, 20 years. But
Yeah.
I think it's definitely going to take longer than 2030. I think people are going to have to, or governments are going to have to push that back a little bit. They're
It's
going to
like with autonomous driving, right? People are very optimistic about it,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
it's
kind of
so long ago
it's
away.
every year it's like, oh, it's gonna come next year. Next year we're gonna
Yeah.
have autonomous driving. But I know Tesla's really close there. They have that full self-driving beta version. I've seen some
hmm
videos and stuff on it. It looks promising, but it's very early on.
Yeah.
A little
Well,
scary.
the technology itself is also working in, but
Yeah,
the laws associated with it are the tough part.
yeah, the laws are really
Um,
tough.
you know,
It's governments and insurance companies are like, oh, who's going to be liable if who gets a crash? Is it going to be the car? Is it the person?
exactly.
It's going to be a rough, shady gray area to see what happens out of that. Um, Yeah, so that was just some of the news and stuff coming in the next few years and everything. A little bit back to reality. I want to know what you think about driving cars. I don't know how many cars you've driven or stuff, but what do you think right now from what you've driven? Like, it's one of the best like, driving, handling cars. on the road right now.
Well, everyone definitely has their own taste of what
Yeah.
they want. Like I have my friend, he loves,
Or
yeah,
regular every day.
exactly, exactly. And it
Yeah,
depends, like if you drive it daily or if you drive it in the
exactly.
weekend. So you gotta look in terms of a budget, in terms of practicality, and maybe in terms of age as well. Like it's however many people there are, they'll have different opinions about
Yeah, that's very
cars.
true.
I personally, my first car was a Nissan SUV called X-Trail. It was
Yeah.
2005. It was a beautiful car for what I needed it to be, which was to haul a lot of stuff, to put some people inside it, to have a roof rack.
Yeah.
So it was a capable, I guess you can call it truck even,
Yeah.
but it's not a pickup truck. And after that, okay, I was a bit tired with it. I'm a little bit younger. I wanted something on the sporty side. So I was looking for a coupe, two doors,
Mhm.
affordable, under like 15-20K, all-wheel drive and manual. Those were
Yeah.
the key points for me. From what I was looking for, my current car, Audi A5, was exactly hit on the spot. All-wheel drive, manual, fun to drive,
Mhm.
pretty spacious inside too, and perfect for two people, for me and my wife.
Yeah.
So that's my style. That's what I want. In 10 years, probably will change. I'm a big fan of wagons. I think they offer the
Yeah.
best of both worlds. They're
Definitely.
capable, they're practical, and they offer performance as well. They have nice luxury touches, and there are lifted versions, there are lower versions. Like they're pretty different, that ones
Yeah.
out there. So I think in 10 years, my perfect car would be a wagon.
Yeah. Definitely. I love wagons. It's sad to see that not a lot of people over here appreciate them that much, but
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. It's different between North America and Europe. In
yeah.
Europe, they're very appreciated. In North America, for some reason, people don't like them as
Yes.
much. They prefer bigger vehicles.
Well, it is nice to see that they are starting to. I feel like they're coming a little bit more populous over here. Volvo's bringing their stuff over.
Hmm.
Audi's starting to. They brought the RS6 over finally, which is nice to
Good
see.
for Audi, yeah.
Yes.
Now
I know
BMW's turn.
BMW. They had the 3 Series wagon over here for a while.
Back in the day, yeah.
Don't know what happened to that, but it's nice to see people are bringing that stuff over again. I know Ford has their strange Fusion thing that's coming out over
Yeah,
here.
or like an Outback.
Yeah, they don't believe in cars anymore for us, but their decision to make
No, but if you ask me, the ultimate car is probably a wagon, something of
a
a sort
wagon.
of. If you don't go too crazy, will be
Yeah,
like either C400 or E400,
yeah,
or a 3 Series wagon in Europe, or like an S4, an A4.
yeah.
That's like the ultimate car. Like, what else do you need?
You don't need that. It's everything. All-wheel drive has the capability of storage. You can put people in it. I
Yeah,
think wagons are very overlooked. Maybe once the market's so flooded with the SUVs, people realize they don't need to have all
yeah.
this stuff going on anymore. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I have such interesting opinions on how I look on cars, but um, one interesting thing I've always realized, I did this. I was driving a whole bunch of people around. I was helping some family members move cars around, and I was in it was a Nissan. What do you call that? The Murano. It's one of their SUVs.
Oh, let's see. Okay.
Nissan Murano, and I remember just driving that, and the steering, I could move it with my pinky. It was so light. It was so,
Yeah.
it's just, all over the place. But that's how those kinds of cars are. They're soft,
Hmm.
comfortable, daily driving cars.
Exactly.
And I was moving 3 Series around. It was a 335i. I forgot what year. And it's a BMW. From 2007, 2010 era. Those were some of their glory days, I think, with handling in the
Hmm.
modern era and how those drove. And then I got back into my old Subaru, and I'm driving. I'm like, wait a second, why is this steering so good? And it was mind-boggling. It's like I just came from these completely different spectrums of cars, how they
Hmm.
feel and handle. This shouldn't be so close to the BMW. I
Yeah.
was like, this doesn't make any sense. It actually, I did a whole bunch of research and everything, and I did find out that now they all switched over to electric power steering, and that was
Hmm.
the ones that we have are actually still hydraulic power steering. So
Okay.
I was really interested to see how big of a difference that actually makes in like handling and dynamics of the cars, because I know I do a lot of work with the BMW dealership over near me, and I've been driving a whole bunch of the newer BMWs, like the new 4 Series,
Hmm.
5 Series, and so on. And they really are not as good as they used to be. A lot of people will make claims like, "Oh yeah, they're not nowhere near as good." They're okay. It's still,
Yeah.
once you put it in the sport mode or something, you change it, you can definitely feel it's still there, but it's definitely
They're plushy. Like,
it's plush. It is plush. Yeah, it's like there's a little squishiness going on before you feel something. I was like, oh,
exactly.
annoying. That's why I personally I have more appreciation of older cars. Like that's why I
Mhm.
was actually looking at the A5 for a while because one of my friends actually just got a 2010 A5.
Mhm.
Um, I think it had like 140,000 miles, and there's nothing really wrong with it, which I was pretty shocked because
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
pretty capable.
There's a stigma here with German cars not being super
Well, you gotta know
reliable.
which one to pick.
Yeah, like which one do you want to live with for the
It's your
next?
poison.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
But in terms of steering and handling, it's interesting you bring it up. My wife has a 2013 Cooper 3-door,
oh yeah,
and I thought my car handles pretty well. Like it's a pretty big coupe. It's comfy. It's not as sporty.
yeah,
And then you have the Mini Cooper, the regular version. It's like a 3-cylinder engine, super small,
yeah.
very underpowered, but it's a small car, so it doesn't need too much power. And just the way it handles, the suspension is not the greatest on bumps and everything,
Mhm.
but the way it handles and the way it drives, then I go back into my car, it feels so different. It feels so huge,
Yeah,
and a lot of understeering going on and everything. So it's like, wow, I didn't even feel that difference, but you really feel it when you compare different
exactly.
to different cars out there.
I mean, the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people watch all these different YouTubers with reviews and they're testing all these cars, getting in and out of cars, moving from car to car and car. And then they make these bold opinions on things, and the people get angry. People, yeah, I'm sure you know the comment sections on
Exactly.
these things. People have very bold opinions, whether they've been in these cars or experienced them or not. They just, I've seen a lot of people just take their opinions from people they like, and they trust
Hmm.
them, and they want to like support them in a way. But I mean, what I've come to notice is that a lot of these people, like these reviewers and they're all in these nice cars. They get the top specifications of the cars. They're driving, I don't know, Lamborghinis and stuff all the time. And then they get back into
Hmm.
like, I don't know, an Acura or a
Yeah.
Honda or something. And they're like, oh, this is drive nice. I'm like, you guys are testing all these cars, hopping into this one and then saying it doesn't drive nice. You need someone to kind of like shift your perspective a little bit, take a
Hmm.
break or something. And I don't know, it's bothered me for a while because I see all these reviewers talking about like daily cars that people drive, and they're not bad cars if you're coming from like a similar segment wise. But if you're coming from these sports cars and all
Yeah.
sporty handling cars coming into these daily driving cars and criticizing them for how they don't drive well, it's
You
just
definitely need a palette cleanser or something like E90 M3, you know?
exactly. But I don't know. I've noticed that's like a common issue in a lot of things that are happening in
Hmm.
terms of reviewers and like influencer people online.
For
um
sure.
it's just making people want sporty things. I think the manufacturers are kind of fueling this too now with adding
Hmm.
sporty trims and stuff that make people think, oh wow, there's black trim on the outside with some sporty body kit and drives so much better. um yeah, it's just an interesting thing, but it's like a circle of going on, all that stuff these days
For sure.
in the whole industry. But yeah, this was really great. I'm talking with you. I just seeing how you're doing with all this stuff, your insight and perspective in the industry and stuff on cars. Um, see where how this podcast goes in the future. See how many people we can get
Yeah,
onto it. I definitely want to grow my page, and I also want to help everyone else grow their pages as well. That's one of the big thing.
for sure.
The industry and the community is really strong. It is really strong. We want to keep it strong, especially during the pandemic, because I know it's been hard for everyone and
Yeah,
every
mentally it's pretty tough.
and everything. So, if you have anything else to say, just let me know. But
No,
otherwise,
cool.
all good.
Thanks. Thank Justin. It's really appreciated. Again, all the best with your endeavors and your redesign of what you're
Yes.
doing.
Thank you.
I saw the YouTube video is definitely a good step into there and a good refresh of what you're doing.
Yes.
I would suggest just more on TikTok, just pound them videos, you
Yeah.
know.
Gotta work on that.
Yeah,
But thank you again for coming on, and hope you have good luck with everything going on TikTok. You're still successful, get even more successful in there, and hopefully Instagram
we'll
will
get there.
kick up a little bit more. But yeah, thank you again. Thank you again for coming on, and have a great day.